How are we doing, folks? Welcome back to the workbench again. Welding bench, bit of everything bench at the moment. Yeah, been a while. I've been doing some bits that I haven't really been talking about so far. One of the main things is welding all the main tubes, which has been quite exciting, quite daunting. We'll get onto that in a minute. The main pivot shell, I've broken the tacks, I've taken it out. Only because during welding the main triangle, I started encountering space issues. Obviously, you know, there's parts of the frame that are pretty tricky to weld. I'm not the best welder in the world. My torch, it's not a CK, it's one of these. They're all right, you know. It's got a nice like flexi head on it. I've had to put a stubby cap on the back. Using a number 10 gas lens at the moment because I had a bit of a mishap. Yeah, broke my, I can't remember what it was now. It's a pretty big one, wasn't it? Yeah, broke my gas lens and diffuser cup. It was quite a big cup. I can't remember what it was now. So I gutted about that. But hey ho, I don't think it was giving me much of an advantage. It was good shielding, good coverage, but as I'm welding more, I'm discovering that yeah, a number 10 cup with a lens on it is fine. So what have we been doing? You can see here we got the swing arm in its jig. The jig is basically like part of the main frame jig, broken down, reassembled, so I can align, tack, weld everything. The swing arm. I still need to put a brace in here. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna go like the Brooklyns or Tourer bikes. Box it in with plate. I'm not sure. I've also seen Peregrine bikes. I like that option. Uses tubular bridge across. So you've got you know, tubular. It'll be a place for the linkage mounts to go underneath. It'll still work whether it's boxed in or tubular. I'm not sure. This shouldn't be too bad to notch to get in. I'm not sure. I quite like the idea of using it. I'm still thinking about that. Anyway, moving on. I'll show you a little bit about the jig. I think we discussed, or I showed little bits about the eccentric dropouts. I think I've discussed them. Anyway, I think I showed a little bit of the machining. And I've utilised the tube block that I use for notching in the milling vise. I've utilised that to work as part of the jig, and it's worked really well. The only issue is that obviously the bore on the inside of this is 38mm, or just a tad under, and the dummy axle, or the dummy hub rather, is not 38mm. So what I have done, like, I'm really happy because the swing arm now, yeah, it's, you know, there's little to no warping from welding. This drops straight back in. Really happy with that. So what I did, if you remember, I did make myself a paperweight, machining the eccentric dropouts. Can't remember what mistake I made now. Anyway, can't remember what I did. So anyway, chucked this up, turned it down to 38mm diameter, and bored it out to whatever dimension that is. I can't remember. It's 15mm, something like that. Yeah, you can see a bit. Oh, I remember. I tried drilling the axle holes on the pillar drill, and it went in pissed, didn't it? So yeah, that's why. But I bored this out on the lathe, so I know everything's straight concentricity. Split it then with the hacksaw, and that then allows me to use the tube block that I was using for notching. I can use it now multi-purpose, and I'm really happy with that. Like it's literally just it's dropping in perfectly aligned as it was when I tacked it, so I'm really happy with that. I don't think out of the whole frame I've had any kind of real warping. I think this weld is going to be quite critical. As long as the notching is top notch, as long as it's top notch notching, and I get a good few tacks in, and I keep it in the jig, I think I'll be okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we can see here. We got the swing arm doing its thing, swinging away. I have noticed, I'm not sure whether it's because I've got just 2 of the bearings in there. When the ends of the swing arms are clamped up, there's a slight amount of deformity in the bearings. Not enough for it to be like, oh shit, I can't use that. But it's a little bit grabby. So I'm definitely going to be putting 3 bearings in each of these. Yeah, and we just run it, see how it goes. I can always change things, not have a jack shaft, have bearings inside here, thicker bearings that aren't going to deform when the shell is clamped. Yeah, and that's that. So moving on, so that's the swing arm all tacked up, welded up. I'll see if I can show you. Like, I'm not a welder, it's not my profession. But we're going to be alright, I think. We're going to be alright. A bit dark, but yeah. Not really in focus. Doesn't want to focus. Anyway, we're all welded up. I have a bit of faith in it. I think we're going to be okay. So that's the swing arm out of the way. Let's have a look at the main triangle. All welded up. Not the best welds in the world. Good penetration on them. Heat affected zones, not too big. Kept the shielding good. Still got that brace to put in there. Head tube wells, they came out quite nice. So I think we're in a good place. Had an idea, got a measure up. I'm going to be gusseting using a gusset plate on the head tube and the down tube. Had a little idea for something about this size. Had a little idea for something in the middle. We'll talk about that again, or maybe I'll just get it done and I'll show you. And that's that. So what I've decided to do, like I said, I broke the tacks on the main pivot shell, which goes in there, just because it's going to be hard enough. I've got to split that. Once it's been welded in, I've got to split it. Now I can get an angle grinder in here. I can cut it gently with a cutting disc, not a problem. I didn't want to have to be like messing about trying to get in with the torch, welding here, when I can just have it out on the bench, these in a clamp, way to go. So what I've been doing, I've turned these more of these down. Let's see if I can zoom in what we got. So there's a few processes. I've ground these out. There's a few processes in these. I'll show you now. So what we've got going on here, we've got, I think it's like a 34mm overall, 34mm overall length. There's an M6 thread halfway through it. Halfway through it. There's a stepped 6mm through the other third. And then there's a counter bore for the head of the M6 bolt that goes through. So you can kind of see that. There's a fair bit of chatter. Again, Chinese mini lathe. Constantly chasing chatter and all that. But do you know what I mean? They're going to serve their purpose. Yeah, stainless steel on a Chinese mini lathe. We don't do bad. But we don't do too good either. So those all got made. Tapped, obviously, M6 thread then in it. So we got those. Not quite sure why I've got 3. Missing one somewhere. There we go. There's the number 4. I thought I genuinely lost that then. It was in the vise. I think that one came out quite a bit better. Not sure what happened there. So yeah, I got these. The reason I got 4, gonna need 2 for the main pivot shell. So yeah, I've just ground these out so they kind of notched in, get a bit of a better weld on them. Oh yeah, I haven't finished that one, that's why. Yeah, so they're going to be like that, very much the same as the main pivot bearing clamps on the bolts. So they'll be on there. And I got another 2 then for the dropouts. See if I can show you what we're doing with that. So on the back of the dropout, we will have one of these. It's going to be inboard because obviously for the length of the axle, these are going to be cut out now. So they're going to be cut out like that angle because the aluminium eccentric dropouts, they only like come about like halfway over, which means that the clamp bolt has got to go there, which is okay. And then this is going to be cut at like a 30-degree angle, something like that. Yeah, tidied up. So that'll be the clamp then for the dropouts. Fingers crossed everything is beefy enough. I probably won't cut these until I've run tests. I just want to see how it copes. If I find this twisting from only having the eccentric dropouts like halfway through, what I'll have to do then is machine full length ones, and then put a counter bore, and I'd have to make my own axle then because that's like 157mm spacing on the hubs. It's probably excessively wide. Hopefully, when it's all together, with a 157, you get better. You get better spoke tension because the hub is more central, if that makes any sense. So you haven't got like one side with like really high spoke tension and the other side less. It balances out the spoke tension. So I like the way my downhill bike rides at the moment. If I can keep that trait with the wheels on this, that'll be great. So long story short, I may have to end up making my own axle, which wouldn't be a bad thing. It'd be nice to be able to make all the parts, wouldn't it? But things like stems and that are out of my reach at the moment. Yeah, so not much else to say. Happy that I've bitten a bullet and welded up the main triangle, welded up the Swing arm, yeah, happy with that. Next job is to finish notching these barrel bolts, pinch bolts, whatever you want to call them. Got 3 done, got another one to do, might weld it on tonight, I'm not sure. Yeah, probably not going to split it until it's in the frame. It would be so much easier to split this before it gets welded in, but I don't want to run into any sort of like, it's got better chance of not twisting or warping as a hoop rather than a split hoop. So that's what I'm gonna do. It might come back and bite me on the ass. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I can get angle grinder in that gap. Just to carefully split it. It's how I split the main pivot bearing clamps. So that's that. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. That would be great. I'm not trying to build like this mega bike building YouTube channel. But it's nice to up the subscribers. Yeah, just get the word out there what I'm doing here. I probably, ideal world, wouldn't it be nice to have a little bike company? But that's honestly not realistic for me, to be honest. But yeah, keep pushing on. Gonna keep pushing on. See you in the next one.